Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be Harry Muppet, and we are going to be casting the second quarter-final of the DreamHack Open Summer 2013 tournament. So let's do a quick recap. In the first quarter-final, it was... who was it again? Crap. It was xhairymuppetx, a Zerg player from the Evil Geniuses clan, and he was going against Lucifron, a Terran player from the Mouse Sports clan, and xhairymuppetx doing an excellent job at beating Lucifron to move on to the semi-finals. But now that xhairymuppetx is in the semi-finals, we have to work out who his opponent is going to be, and that is what these quarterfinals are going to set out to do. Up the top left side, we do have somebody's name. It is going to be TLO. It is going to be the little one. He was a very, very awesome player from way back when Starcraft 2 started. He was all over the place doing a whole lot of stuff. It is going to be the little one, otherwise known as TLO, and he is playing for Team Liquid. And down the bottom right side, we do have his competitor. It is going to be the blue Terran player, TaeJa, and he is going to be also playing for Team Liquid. And I've got to say, just personally, yeah, it's if I was Team Liquid, the head of Team Liquid, I would not be super happy at this point. I mean, you'd love to have your players not need to meet each other until the grand final, but unfortunately in the quarterfinal, and I have had a look, and out of the 8 players in the quarterfinals, there are only 2 players left from Team Liquid, and they are these 2 players, so a bit unfortunate. But on the other side, I guess the other 6 players, other than these 6, are all from different clans. So I guess Team Liquid is the only clan to have had 2 players reach the quarterfinals in the DreamHack Open Summer. So I guess that's still good. I guess it's good, and it's a little bit bad, but they've got something to celebrate. 2 players reaching the quarterfinal, better than any of the other teams. And yeah, here we go, going on with this game. And I forgot to mention, I'm going to actually describe these players a bit more. TLO is a German player, and he's playing for Team Liquid, which is based in the Netherlands, I believe. And yes, TaeJa is a South Korean player. I'm pretty sure yeah, I don't think I screwed that up. Yeah, he is a South Korean player, and of course he's playing for Team Liquid, which is also from the Netherlands, because it is the same clan as TLO. So here we go. It's a bit interesting. He's building a command center up there before he moves it out, so it's not going to slow him down too much, but it is going to do a very nice job at blocking off his ramp. So he's using that command center to block off his ramp as well, and I mean, why not? You lose a little bit of time getting over there, but blocking out the scouting is a bit of a nice touch. So I'd say excellent strategy there. This SCV is going to get wiped out. I think the Lings are a little bit faster, so it takes them about 10 seconds per hit if they're running straight after it, but it's going to be more than enough. And yeah, this guy, the only bad thing about having the command center move out a bit later is this Overlord could stop crap all over the place and stop it from landing for another minute or so, and that would be quite devastating for the Terran player. Not devastating per se, but you know, it'd be quite annoying at least. And we do have a factory and a reactor coming down, so we're going to look and see to getting a crap load of Hellions coming down in the next couple of minutes, which is a fairly standard starter for a lot of Terran players. I've seen a lot of them. Lucifron in particular, who we saw in the previous quarterfinal, he loved doing the Hellion stuff. He loved doing a early Reaper into Hellions, but yeah, he's not so much doing the Reaper. I think one of the games he did Reaper, one of the other games he didn't. And yeah, it's worked for him sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. I'll just Alt-Tab for a second, and I'll find... I'm pretty sure there's another Terran player who loved doing that, and that would be Polt. Polt from the CM Storm clan. He loves doing the Hellions as well, man. The Reaper Hellion attack, he is all over that every single game. And yeah, this guy as well, TaeJa, he loves doing the Hellions as well, and why not? Hellions are so good at harassment. These days they don't really actually get much done though. Early Starcraft 2 days, Wings of Liberty, they'd go in there and they'd wipe out workers left, right and centre. The Zergs have a fairly good counter for them now, which is a lot of Queens. They wipe out a lot of Hellions, which is good. Jeez, he has gone queen mad. He's got a queen over there, and 4 at the front. I don't think these are just for Hellions. I think he just wants that much creep tumors put out. He wants to be the he wants to win the award for fastest creep spread into your opponent's base, I think. But here we go, a bunch of, well, I would say a bunch of lings, but there's only one ling out there, and a bunch of Hellions coming out, and that ling is going to get roasted. Well, there he goes. He's going to get roasted. I thought the cannon popped back inside the Hellion for a second there, but maybe not. No, I could have sworn it was like ducking inside the actual Hellion body, but I may have been wrong. It may have just been my imagination. But he catches a few creep tumors on the edge of getting destroyed, or getting created, sorry, and he manages to destroy them all. But there's just so many creep tumors around here, so yeah, I mean, TLO is not going to have that many problems dealing with them. He's already getting a third base up. We have a look at the income. He's slightly ahead, which is what we'd expect around this 8-minute mark, for him to have a bit more guys going on. And the Hellions coming in. There are 6 of them. So 6 Hellions versus a single queen. They will wipe out that queen without taking too much damage. But with the 4 queens all bunched up, then it is going to be a lot harder. And we do have a sorted gate there, so if the queens want, they can move back and just sort of stop the Hellions from running in at all. Unfortunately, though, this base is quite exposed. He does have 2 queens back there, and I'm assuming this is going to be a spire. No, not a spire, a spine crawler in there. It's a bit unfortunate that you can't tell which building is building in this interface. That is my number one complaint about this interface. You can't tell what is building when you select on it. You can tell a whole bunch of other stuff easily down here, but you can't tell which building is created. And unfortunately, this is a game heart replay, which means it was originally run using the game heart interface. So this is not my choice. I basically have to cast it as a game heart replay because it is a game heart replay. So there we go. And yeah, these lings going to come in. This one poor mule comes down. This command center is going to have to cancel and lift up. I don't know, there he goes. He's going to cancel and lift up. This other SCV coming around. It's not going to be working too well for him. This tank is going to siege up. But the lings are very close. They can run up and actually hit that tank if they really wanted to. But they're going to choose to run away. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't actually run up. Maybe he thought the tank was behind this supply depot, which would have meant he had no chance. There they go. The Hellions have gone in, done a push. They're very low on health though, so I'm thinking they might have had to go through a couple of queens to probably get those lings, to get those workers. So they probably killed 2 queens in there, but yeah, eventually it was just too much. And the tank up here, he needs to put the tank a little bit further up there though, because these lings are just going to be able to go all over this base right now. So he needs to move this tank a little bit closer up there to provide a bit more defense. He's got to try and move him back within range of the siege tank, but the splash damage on all these forces is not going to be very pretty at all. The lings deciding to move away, maybe waiting for some reinforcements. They do not like the idea of tanks, and of course you can put a tank up there, or at least up here. Here would be a nice spot, nice and close, and out here is basically the tank's just a sitting duck for anybody to shoot over from there. But here we go. We've got a bunch of buildings. This is a supply depot. This is, I'm going to say that's an armory. I really have no idea what it is, but yeah, maybe it's a factory. Maybe it's no, it's a bunker. It's got to be a bunker. Alright, so that's a bunker. Yeah, we can see that's a bunker. Supply depot. So he definitely does not want lings running through in the backside. And here we go. TLO had that exact idea to run through the backside, but it's too late. The buildings are there. And he's going to do an attack, but some marines in this bunker. And it's just going to be a ling smorgasbord all over the place. And he's easily able to repair these buildings from behind. So that's going to be fine. Meanwhile, he's moving out with a bunch of marines over here. I thought they were marauders, but maybe they're just beefy marines. Sometimes I don't like my FPS. It's not... I'd like to have like 200 FPS, but I don't quite get it. But there we go. These marines going and going. They're obviously deciding it's not a good idea to move in. The creep spread, nothing short of phenomenal at this 13-minute mark from TLO. And it really, really is going to help him to get an expansion. You can see you can expand right here extremely easily without any problems, and you can reinforce this base very easily as well, even though it's a decent distance away from his main and his expansion. But because he's got the creep spread so early on, he can expand. And if you're a Zerg player, expanding where you don't have creep is a very dangerous proposition, because Alright, here we go. Mutas. He's got a crap load of mutas. He's going to go in. There is no missile turrets. TaeJa is not prepared for the mutas. He is going to have a bunch of marines though, which will do a bit as a scaring. Those mutas thought about taking out those marines, but a whole bunch more coming in. And yeah, the very, very quick reinforcement from TaeJa, getting his marines in there. He lost a few workers, but not a huge amount. And yeah, going to be very, very good at defense here. And we are going to see some missile turrets coming up ASAP from our Terran player, just to really, really deal. He's actually got one over there already, so that's a nice planning. But yeah, good job. And these marines just going to continue to push the mutas away. And yeah, he got the fast claws, I think, so the widow mines can duck down really, really fast. The mutas going to come up here. They sort of use these guys to sort of pull the Terran player away, and now they're going to move in. But there's still marines hanging around, and mutas are going to run away. He's got to get this missile turret up nice and quick, and he's got to have mutas very, very hard to deal with. So he's got to make a push in here. Got to try and drive the mutas back and take them out with this marine ball, because trying to defend against mutas when you've got like 3 bases, extremely hard. The widow mine's going down very fast, and these lings do not want to go anywhere near the widow mine, so they've got to find a safe path through the minefield so they can attack this massive amount of Terrans. He is doing a bit of a split. He's obviously worried about the banelings going in. You see these guys, I think he managed to snipe the creep tumor in here. Really wants to get this other creep tumor as well. And there it goes down. So this creep is going to recede, and then the Terran will have a slightly easier time of going in there and actually doing some damage, because of course running onto creep while there are banelings all around, not a very good idea. Meanwhile, a drop going down here. Zerg player hasn't really seen it, but there's not that many workers left over here as well, so I don't know if he really got much there. That was really useful, but definitely dragging some players back. This attack would have done a lot more damage though, and yeah, probably would have taken a bunch of workers out. And you can see the Zerg player, he's still at 76 workers versus 66, so he's definitely not slouching off. But I did think he lost a few workers there. Meanwhile, the Terran player going in, you can see he's got a massive army versus TLO. TLO is been losing quite a few forces. He's got a lot of banelings and lings, so that's a very nice counter versus the Terran army. But yeah, he's got to get in there and do some damage, because right now the Terran just has so many forces. Some very nice baneling hits there, but TaeJa going around, getting his forces out of the way of those baneling hits, and doing an awesome job. If you have a look at the units, TLO basically used up all of his units there, and TaeJa still had 56 marines, so just the marine production was absolutely nuts, and some really good marine pressure off those 3 bases. He only had 3 bases. He did a great job in keeping this base alive when the mutas were harassing it, and the lings. This siege tank up here did some very nice job. I can't tell how many kills it had. But anyway, it's going to keep on keeping on. And yeah, really, these marines going in there. And I've got to say that they did an excellent job at receding the creep. The creep was all over the place around here. They got in there, they receded the creep, and they did a beautiful job at it. You can see there was mutas, there was lings all over the place. They stimmed in there, the scan. They made sure they got the creep tumors down. And creep, when you get rid of the creep, you can go in there, you can do more stuff. And as long as you can keep the creep receding, you can push forward, because lings and banelings, 90% of the time, Masters versus Masters player, lings and banelings will all die versus marines if they're not on creep. And it's just the opposite. On creep, 90% of the time, marines will die to lings and banelings. I mean, the creep just makes all the difference. If you're on creep, your Terran forces die. If you're off creep, then you will most likely survive and wipe out all of the banelings. And yeah, at the end, TLO, he went in with a bunch of banelings. He tried to move off the creep and tried to take him out. And TaeJa just did some brilliant micro and wiped them all out. You can see he's moving all these groups around and stuff, so it was awesome. And yeah, that's it. That is game 1 so far. TaeJa doing some excellent job, receding the creep, getting his marine forces out there, doing an excellent job. If we have a look at the upgrades, he was halfway done to level 3 weapons, so relatively quick win. Well, it's like mid-game, it's a mid-game win, so it did get to the end game, and yeah, great job. So we are going to go on to game number 2 now, between TaeJa and TLO, And yeah, we're going to see which one of these mighty warriors from Team Liquid is going to go on to the semi-final to face xhaidong. So thank you very much for watching, and this has been Hairy Muppet. I'll catch you in the next game.